Hey guys, so today I'm here and I'm going to be doing part 2 of my little paranormal story time. If you guys haven't, please check out the introduction portion of this video. I would truly appreciate it, and also it would make more sense. Alright, so this is going to be the next part. I'm going to continue it right off from where I ended it the last time. So if you guys haven't watched it, go check out that video. Alright. For those of you who have, thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy this different type of video, and really appreciate it, guys, so thank you. Alright, so where we ended the last video, I did have my friend take and remove the Ouija board from my house, because it was originally hers, but it actually wasn't just hers. Before that, it was 2 other friends, and the first friend it originally came from, they moved into a house, and it was actually in a trunk that was in their house. I mean, this was it was a Hasbro board, but it was like an OG Hasbro board, if that makes sense. Like really nice, thick. It's not like that super chintzy, like super cheap Ouija boards, like, but it wasn't like super fancy wooden ones either, but it was like in between that, if that made sense. So, gotta put that out there, but I had her take back the board. Alright, she ended up having a few weird experiences at her house. I'm not going to go into full details, but she did have several experiences where even her parents were like, hey, like, what's the spookiness about? Her parents referred to it as the spooks. Her family is very religious, so they were really creeped out by it and really did not like it. So they told her no, pretty much, like, no. Again, I'm going to tell this story because I know this one's okay to share, but it even bothered her in her car, so to the point where after she took it, and they didn't want it left in the house, so she ended up taking it, she put it in the trunk of her car, and it would even bother her in her car where when she'd have, like, you know, like the cassette tapes that have the auxiliary cord out of it, like, she would do that to hook up to, like, her phone or stuff like that, and she would use that a lot. And it never had an issue. She put the Ouija board in the trunk of her car. And when she did that, like, it would spit out the tape constantly. The one time, anytime it was, like, pretty much, like, certain types of, like, music, it seemed like, it did not seem to like it at all. And it would spit it out, and it just really freaked her out. And it was just, I don't know, she started to feel constantly like she was being watched. She just felt like a creepy, like, dreaded feeling, just super, super creeped out. And she just really didn't like it. And this is her thing, and she did have some experiences, but like I said, I can't share those ones. But going back to my house, so she's got all this going on, and she's got the Ouija board. But my house, where it all happened and went down, mind you, like I said, this was like 2 weeks of us playing and weird stuff kind of happening and going on. And I do know that we messed up by saying, oh, show us and blah blah blah. I do know that we messed up because then we invited it to do things and to be in. And I didn't realize that was such a big mistake then. But I will say now, don't do that. I'm not religious. I'm not no weird, like, superstitious person. But I will say, based on experience, like, just don't do it. I will never touch one ever again. But to get into my experiences, these sound really outrageous. And I know that they do. But these are what have happened. So shortly after she took the Ouija board, I started to have really, really, like, weird, like, vivid, like lucid dreaming, like, nightmares, and I was starting to get, like, sleep paralysis and, like, really weird things. Like, even if I wasn't even thinking about it throughout the day, I just started to have these really weird dreams. And I had this one dream, and it was, like, consecutive, and that never ever happens to me where I have the same dream like that. And it was, like, so weird because it's like I would be awake and I'd be in my bed, but I could see me sleeping. It's like I would lean up from myself and look at myself, and there'd be, like, this weird, like, shadow in the corner of the bedroom. And as it was, like, have it, okay? I'm having this for, like, a week, like, maybe a little bit over a week, because I remember, like, not even wanting to go to sleep. The shadow would progressively get closer, and it scared me so bad. To the point where that's why we ended up switching the makeup rooms and bedrooms, like, around a lot, because I figured, alright, some feng shui. So I was like, that's it, I'm moving the bedroom. So we moved it to a different room and did that, and it did help with the dreams a little bit. This is where it starts to get really creepy, is me and my boyfriend used to work at different times. So we'd be home a lot at separate times and sleeping on opposite times a lot. And how the bed was, at first we had it in the one room, and the bed was kind of going like this, so you could see the door this way, and like it kept happening to me so many times where at first I thought it was like a weird light or reflection that would come up through the window, but I don't know if anybody else has seen something like this, but I've never heard anybody else describe something exactly like this. But it was like a figure would go by, but it wasn't a normal like white shadow, nothing like that. Mind you, it is pitch black out there, and it's like it has its own light, but it wasn't bright, but just enough where you could, obviously it didn't belong. And it was like this really weird olivey gray toned color, and I don't know how to describe that, where I couldn't make out features, but you could just tell it was like a person. I think it was a man, because that's what it looked like. And it was like it had its own light, but like I said, it wasn't bright, it wasn't like super in your face, but noticeable in the dark, and you could like clearly see it. And it was like, it was just the weirdest color, and just like this feeling of dread that would happen, like dread. And it happened to me a few times where I was like, yo, like what? And it would walk by, and at first I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be a car going by, or something weird reflecting in the window, or something weird, like, you know, is it my glasses reflecting a weird light or something? And it really creeped me out. And me and my boyfriend, like I said, opposite schedules, so I told him about it, and I'm like, yo, I keep seeing this. So then we decide to move the bedroom again, and this time we like decide to move the bedroom sideways. And I was still seeing this thing. He has yet to see it, but we still stayed in this room. I would close the door and stuff. A lot of times though, that door for the one that went sideways, the room there, that door didn't really stay shut. So that is a whole different room though, and that door didn't fully latch, so the cats could just push on it and they'd reopen it all the time, so it didn't really help too much. But and I would stay on the inside, closest to the wall, so I didn't really see it. I didn't really pay attention to it. I just tried to like stay focused on that, and I tried to take my mind off things. So I am at work, and I've been telling my boyfriend of all these things, but he's like, okay, I haven't really seen anything. Like, he felt something kind of weird, but he didn't know for sure what it was, so he was just like, yo, like, maybe you just really freaked yourself out. Like, he did feel that it was a little bit different, but nothing like as drastic as like I was feeling it. So I'm at work, and I'm on my way home. My boyfriend's been home for a few hours, and I could tell that there was something up with him. And he's like, hey, I gotta tell you something. I'm not trying to freak you out more. I'm not trying to scare you, but he's like, he was sitting there and he was playing like StarCraft, and he had it on silent, and he was playing it quietly for hours. And he said when he was randomly sitting there, that all of a sudden that something growled in his ear, like, oh, like mad loud and deep, to the point where he pushed off his computer, like literally smashed his monitor. Okay, it fell off. It didn't break, but it like all fell off. Like his whole computer, like whole area was like totally just like in disarray. Okay. And that's weird for him because he loves his computers, because he sits there and makes them. That's a side note. But, like, it screamed in his ear. And, by the way, I hated that computer room. Hated it. I will get to that, though. That was the room he felt the most dreaded. I wouldn't even go into it after this all happened. But he's telling me what happened. And he's telling me how he looked outside. He's looking everywhere, checking on all the animals. Nobody's making a noise, but he said it was right here. He could actually feel the breeze. Like of somebody like yelling, and you could feel the breath. And he said you could feel it. And then he was like, alright, he went all around the house, he checked everything, and he thought it was really weird. He started fixing up his computer room area, and that's when I then came in and I was home. And then he started talking to me. And as he was telling me all this, I shit you not, I swear on everything, where you're outside of the door, and it's one of those OG like indoors where like it goes inside. I don't know the name of them, but it's one of those like hideaway doors. This, something you hear, okay? He's telling me all this. He's like, yo, he's like, kind of weird. He's like, I don't know how to describe it. And I'm like, oh, you know, like, I told you, like, there's something wrong, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, it's okay. Like, he's like, I'm not trying to freak you out more. He's like, I just had to tell you, like, I experienced something. And, shit you not, what happens? You then hear, get out from this fucking room. Like, but it was like super loud. I'm not good at doing that, but it was super loud. Like somebody was like right there in the doorway. You could feel the breath of somebody like yelling at you to get out. I looked at him. I fucking booked it, dude. Mind you, it is in the middle of winter. there is like snow up to my knee outside. It is freezing. I grabbed on my coat. I said, fuck this. We got out and we went for a walk for a while because I was so scared. He was more interested. He's super interested. Like, he thought it was, like, in a way, like, super cool. I was just, no. Like, absolutely not. I didn't even want to go home that night. It scared me so bad. I just never experienced something, actually saying something like that. And it was with such, like, intention and just like to scare you and mean and anger. It just did not feel good. So we were out like most that night because I was literally so creeped out. I wanted to literally tire myself out so I could just be able to go to sleep. I didn't really sleep. I was creeped. Next day, I'm going from work, I'm coming home, and so was my boyfriend. We actually got a day where we're pretty similar in time frames. His friend is coming over. This is where everything starts to get pretty wild. His friend is coming over, and on the way over, we had this, it's like an oil burner. You put the candle at the bottom and those little scent things on the top. It was just one of those like bigger ceramic ones though. It wasn't a cheap one. It was like one of the nicer ones. And that was on in the actual front room itself. So you go through the door and go that way. And that was in the front room itself. And you'd have to go to the front room to get to the computer room. And that was on an entertainment center on top of like the television, all that. It was on top of there. His friend went to come over and hang out, and we're going to call him Stove. That's what he wants to be called, is Stove. And he went to go hang out with him. And when he went to go do that, he went to come to the house. This thing came up off of the entertainment center and flew at him. It ended up hitting the wall, and again, if you guys go back in videos, I have these mirrored things where you guys can see my front room in a video, and they were like these, look like mirrored fans that had roses off of them. It flew off of the entertainment center into the wall and ended up breaking that. The actual thing itself did not break though. The oil thing, don't know how. He ended up running into the room with my boyfriend, and he's like clutching onto the chair like, yo, there's something out there, what the fuck, like freaking out, like, yo, there's something out there, you gotta go check that. It was super loud, by the way. I was in the other room and I heard it. It was that loud. The thing fell off, like, but mind you, the oil thing was fine. Needless to say, I did throw out the oil thing. That went in the garbage. I don't care if it wasn't broken. I didn't want it anymore. He was super, super creeped out. He ended up leaving because he just got so creeped out because he didn't understand it, and it freaked him out a lot. And then we're like, you know, trying to figure it out, like, yo, we're sorry, we don't understand. A few days go by, feels pretty uncomfortable, feels pretty weird. Every now and again, I'm still seeing that thing going by the bedroom and stuff, which really, that bothered me probably the most, was seeing something. But that's all still happening. Now the one day I wake up, I'm running late for work, so I'm hurrying up, I'm trying to take a shower, get ready, and as I'm heading out the door, there's this little ledge. Mind you, this is an old apartment. It was like this little built-in ledge and door, like hanger thing almost, like on this next to the front door. So as I'm going there, I have a bunch of stuff up there, like all the incense and like air fresheners and all that. And as I was going to walk out, it was like one of those like the Glade ones with the nice buttons. One of those things came like flying at me as I'm trying to leave the house. It was ridiculous. Now I was so happy. I've never been so happy to have to go to work ever in my life. I was so happy to be able to leave and go to work. It creeped me out so much. Now, this is just so many hours later. I'm coming home from work, my boyfriend's home, and he's in the bedroom, and he's sitting on the bed while I'm talking to him from the kitchen, because this is where this bedroom is at the time. And I'm coming home with a bunch of bags and stuff, because I bought stuff as long as I was at work. I did buy a few things that we needed for the house. And I'm lining it all up on the counters, and this is important. So as I'm talking to him, he goes to be like, oh, like, haha, and he's like looking at something on his phone, like to like show me. And as I'm going to walk to like go see it, to get closer, because I can't really see, the toilet papers that were then like all the stuff that I was like lining up, it was the toilet paper, some that came flying off the counter and then hit me in the back. And I know that sounds ridiculous and stupid, like, why would you be afraid? Toilet paper hit you. It doesn't make any sense though. Like, it just, and he got to see that though, and I just looked at him, I was so freaked out, and I was like, see, that's what I was talking about, like, blah blah blah. I started freaking out, I was crying, he told me I needed to relax, but it really started to freak me out to the point where, like, okay, now stuff's getting moved, I'm seeing things, we're hearing things, like, and it's not just us, now it's our friends, okay? And I'm going to just start cutting through really quickly to the incidents that happened. His one friend spent the night, and he swore that he saw the door of the computer room open, and he thought it was like somebody standing there. Like, he thought he saw like a weird shadowy thing, and he just felt very uncomfortable. He left in the middle of the night. Another issue and situation is, like I said, we kept moving around bedrooms and the guest room and the extra bed we had, and that was going down all the way at the other end of the house. The computer room, we never moved. That one stayed there. I had a friend, another friend, I'll call her, I'm going to call her Sarah. I had her spending the night, and she had a really creeped out moment. She woke me up to then be like, I'm leaving, sorry, I don't want to stay here. And she wanted to leave, and she didn't want to stay because she kept thinking that somebody was like trying to like wiggle the doorknob. And there were certain rooms, yes, where the animals could get into, but it's hard to explain to how the doors were different and how they could reach them, but some of them weren't. They were old school weird doors, and I wish I could explain that better. I wish I had better pictures or something, but some of them were different where it can't be an animal. And it really creeped her out. And then as she was sleeping, she felt like somebody like leaned on the bed to like sit. She felt a pressure, and she was thinking, oh, it's a cat, but there was nothing there. So she ended up leaving. This is important. This happened several times, sadly. She never spent the night again. His one friend never spent the night again, so ever. And then my friend Kathleen that originally played, she was spending the night, and she was in the other room. Mind you, I then moved the bedroom again. That's why I kept switching makeup rooms and all that. I kept moving. I can move the spare bedroom and swapped it with the makeup room again. And then she was sleeping in there, and mind you, she's pretty cool, pretty chill. Like, even though weird stuff happened, she's kind of just like, you know, she's still pretty chill. She said when she was going to sleep that she felt a kneeling on the bed. Like, she thought it was me coming in, because she left the door kind of cracked, because she didn't mind the cats coming in and stuff. She loves animals. She loves them to snuggle and, like, come on in. She thought it was me maybe sneaking in and couldn't sleep, and it was like, oh, like, you know, seeing if she wanted to hang out or talk, whatever, and, like, do something and chill. And she said it felt like literally somebody sat on the bed, and, like, it was like a wicker headboard bed. I'm sure you guys remember. If you guys look at old videos, like I said, I keep saying this, but check out real old videos. I mean, they're crappy of what I'm doing, but like, just look so you can get an eye of what I'm talking about. But it was like a wicker headboard, and she said she could have swore like somebody, like the sound of somebody leaning on that to like lean down. Oops. Like, she felt it all, and then when she wanted to turn around, like, it just seemed like there was like a weird like shadow there. She ended up jumping up out of bed. She ran out of the room, ran into mine and my boyfriend's room, and she jumped on the bed and got in between us. This girl was shaking. She wouldn't just do that. She wouldn't just barge into our room. She wouldn't just do something like that. Like, she was honestly truly petrified. She was shaking, like, that scared, because she thought like it was me or something, being like, oh hey, or trying to mess with her or something like that, or a cat or something, and it wasn't. So that was a pretty weird story. We do have another story, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share it. Let me see, actually. Hold on. Like, she felt it all, and then when she wanted to turn around, like, it just seemed like there was like a weird like shadow there. She ended up jumping up out of bed. She ran out of the room, ran into mine and my boyfriend's room, and she jumped on the bed and got in between us. This girl was shaking. She wouldn't just do that. She wouldn't just barge into our room. She wouldn't just do something like that. Like, she was honestly truly petrified. She was shaking, like, that scared, because she thought like it was me or something, being like, oh hey, or trying to mess with her or something like that, or a cat. Okay, so this one starts to get a little bit weirder. I'm gonna save like the super juicy stuff for the end, but we're gonna leave it here at this part of my friend then deciding, all right, this is getting enough. It's getting too creepy. Like, we're having friends now that are not they're not wanting to come over anymore because they're getting freaked out. They're getting creeped out. They don't like it. So I'm at work. She's texted me and she's let me know, hey, I looked it up. I talked to some people. And we went to like this wicker store a lot, and like we asked what to do and stuff like that, and this was one of the things we ended up doing several times going back there, but this is going to be probably the third and final installment of this, I think. But we did go back to that wicker store and get advice and all that from this woman. She was awesome. But I'm going to save that for the next video. But we did go there. She said some stuff that we could do. Like, it was so weird though. She knew ahead of time what the problem was. That's what was like, it blew my mind. As we walked into the store, she instantly was like, she was like waiting on somebody else. She like instantly came right over to me and then started talking to me, and she's like, this is what you need. She gave me sage. She gave me like the bowl thing. She didn't even charge me. She's like, no, you need this. Like, you need this. And she just like literally told me to take it. And then we started telling her what happened. And then she told us what to do with the board. I ended up going to work. My friend ended up breaking the board in 7 pieces. She felt really weird about it, and it gave her a really hard time. And she also took in, ended up like, this might be bad to say, but this is what we did. Well, she ended up doing, but I would have been there if I could, but I was so creeped out, and at work, I was just like, no. She dug up a spot like behind the church and buried it there, because it's supposed to be like a religious like thing, help keep it whatever's in there. Broke up 7 pieces, buried it there, boom. It's behind it, so it didn't hurt. I don't even think it's the church's property, just as a by the way, before anybody says anything. It was just near it. It was like the empty lot next to it, but it was close enough where, you know, we were hoping like, you know, a little good juju on that. But that's what she ended up doing. She ended up sending me a few pictures. I wish I still had those pictures though, but, and then she showed me like kind of what it looked like, and it just looked really weird, and it was all like broken up and all that. And you know, the weird thing is that we still walk by it every now and again, and I still get the heebies when we walk by that area. Like, I don't know, it just still feels weird. But that's what she ended up doing. But we're going to leave it here for now. The spirits definitely did not like us breaking the board. I'll definitely get into that. Again, I'm so sorry, these are long, but, you know, I just want to share it and be as, like, as fruitful with the information as possible. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Be ready for part 3. Alright, thanks, guys. Bye.